located by attacker. Attackers recovered the bomb. Seconds to go. Attackers bomb. Remaining. Heading out to defuse the bomb.
Hello everybody, how are you all doing tonight? I for one hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I myself am doing pretty good, but I cannot say I'm doing too great either. As you might be able to see here, I just got a sunburn today, and just wearing this shirt puts me in excruciating pain. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but still, I hope you guys enjoy the commitment to this stream tonight. Our match tonight will be MishMash Gaming against Dead Astronauts. This is, one of the standard SIG games. Nothing necessarily out of the ordinary here. However, we would have had these benign games that turned out to be actual, huge matches between two really really good skilled contenders, and the one team that you would have expected to just lose flat out ended up, being really defiant, and that kind of unexpected outcome we've seen once or twice this week so far. So let's see if tonight is also going to be one of those nights, because as unfortunate as it sounds, unfortunately for them, Dead Astronauts have not really been able to make, a really big impression as far as this season is concerned. Let's just hope for their sake that everything I just mentioned is going to change tonight. But one thing is for sure, for the time being, we're not yet ready to jump into the actual match itself, since, the map bans are still underway. We are not going to be seeing a cafe ban, so it's going to be up to Clubhouse, Oregon, or Villa. If I was to make a personal prediction, I would say Oregon is basically not really well liked. It is quite likely to end up being, banned and taken out of the picture. There you have it. So now Dead Astronauts basically have the choice between Clubhouse or Villa. Those maps are pretty well liked, both of them. Villa would be roughly in the middle, so neither outright hated, neither being, the most loved map in the composition. It feels like we're playing Clubhouse day in and day out. But then again, if it is the favorite map, it tends to be picked it tends to be picked by the players more often than not. Still, things can go both ways, and it will be the unexpected outcome. Villa will be our map, with MishMash Gaming deciding to start defending first. That is going to be somewhat interesting. So without further ado, let's jump right into that scene right here and prepare said game. Oh gosh, Windows, why you do this to me? Why do you gotta be this way while the game loads? Please connect to that, and now the replay buffer will work properly. That is awesome. Alright, so without further ado, let's prepare the custom lobby and invite those players. It will be interesting because, in my recent memory, I have not seen Dead Astronauts too often these last few weeks. I believe, I might be wrong on that front, but I believe they had only a single game last week because they were playing against an opponent that had forfeited, and their other match was Sunday night. Was Sunday being the time slot at which the servers tournaments are running, and therefore I was not free and not available to invite them or to host their match. So I hadn't seen their games last week. So this week, once again, the Astronauts only have a single game, and that makes it so that you don't see them too often nowadays. And therefore, hey guys, welcome back. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Kenny will also be receiving an invite. There we have it. And since they picked the defensive side, let me just switch or, swap rather the names at the top of the screen. There you have it. Players have been invited. Kenny is going to be joining in. Let's just try to invite Telio once again. Let's hope that works out properly. And now we will be good to, start setting the map, the team names. The blue team is going to be Dead Astronauts. And when you hit, I believe it is the U button, my push to talk button, whenever you type U in the... maybe not. Whenever you type the one key, it turns on my push to talk button, but that makes like no sense whatsoever. Well, whatever button it is, we are now good to go. It looks like MishMash are almost all in there. So Telio and the DAS team, you guys I hope to see pretty quickly. Crevette is in here. Telio sending me an invitation to the game. Yeah, I think I'll invite you back. No offense, but yeah. Hey, Skyzy, you have joined DAS as well? Wait, is Skyzy? I have two Pokemon Discord. I have to check that. Give me a sec. Let's see. He is currently in a do not disturb mode, so I might not be able to reach him. I did text him. Let's see if he responds, or if he's actually there. Treg, how are you doing? Welcome, my man. Welcome on the stream. It's been a while since we saw the MishMash team as well. Am I correct? They played only the one game last week because they played against... Their other match was against a team that had disbanded. Right, they were playing against Phoenix. Yeah, exactly. Phoenix Rebirth's match didn't end up happening. So both of these teams, actually, we haven't seen in some time, which will bring back the nostalgia. Actually, it's a small nostalgia factor, but hey, it's still there. Let's start this overlay looping. That is going to be good to... Oh, it wasn't supposed to be on that scene, however, because that makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, Shrek going at hashtag Team MMG. It will be, a few more moments before the match can actually start, simply because the Atronauts are not all in there. MishMash Gaming, they are present, so that is amazing. But, yeah, there is still going to be a bit of a waiting time. And there we have it. I was wondering, Skyzy is now apparently on the Dead Astronauts roster, so he will be playing tonight. I believe he is going to be replacing Madro. Madro, for those of you who don't know, I was previously keeping this vague, but then he said I don't care, you can just say it publicly. He went to, or he is going like tonight, tomorrow, literally. He starts next month, which is tomorrow, basically. He's going to military college, so, for those of you who know how it works, you already know what this implies. For those of you who don't know, basically, yeah, let's just say you don't get to game at night after your classes when you're there. And therefore, the Atronauts had to substitute him. They had to get a new player in. And apparently, reading the room here, Skyzy is going to be your new recruit here for the Dead Astronauts roster. Maybe he's just, a generic pickup, however. He would have to be added on the roster for some, as far as the registrations are concerned. But that is that is like a trivial task or a trivial, say, do that thing to think about. And a Buzz, so he was really just a substitute last week, but it looks like he's going to be on the roster for good, or if not, they're just going to the same substitutes again, time and time again. So guys, I see all 10 of you are in here. Are your muscles running? Otherwise, are you guys ready? And
no,
if so, all right,
no.
Well, take your time. We are under no stress whatsoever. MishMash, on your hand, how are things looking?
I'm set. I don't know about
Yeah, we're doing good.
Awesome.
It's 1 minute to use the restroom.
No worries. What's good? MishMash Gaming saying, what's good, everyone? How are you doing? Welcome on the stream, Tyler. Welcome back. So yeah, I don't know if you heard this because, 3 minutes delay and everything. Both of these teams, actually, I have not seen too much of lately. So, Dead Astronauts, it's been a while. My memory might be wrong regarding that last week. So, they had only one game because they played against a team that had disbanded. And I believe their, single game they played... No stress. The single game they played was Sunday night, so during the Cerberus tournaments, and I was covering the Cerberus tournaments, therefore I couldn't actually cast their match. So, I believe... I had not seen the Atronauts last week. This week again, they do have only one match because disbands and all that good stuff. So it's been like 2 weeks since I last saw them. That is nice to see because their last game, they lost somewhat horribly, unfortunately for them. And they said, oh, as a team, we played terrible. We can do better. Awesome, awesome. So good luck, have fun, and may the best team win.
Good luck, have fun,
So
guys.
they said we can do better and all that good stuff. So the question is, in the last 2 weeks, have they had enough time to improve upon themselves and to become better, basically, right? MishMash was in a similar boat. It feels to me, at least, like I haven't seen them in a while. Though they were not, you know, in any type of hard pressure to boost their performances if they want to make it to the playoffs. Their spot in the playoffs at this point is basically guaranteed. So yeah, let's keep our eyes on the Atronauts more than anything else. Simply put, I would expect MishMash to be the consistent or the known quantity. So the blue team is actually, or their performances, their improvements since we last saw them, or lack thereof, seems to me like it's going to be the most interesting factor. That would be the factor that could actually impact the outcome of the game. You guys got this game, I scrimmed DS the other day. Okay, so it looks like Joker doesn't think DS are too big of a danger. Also, let's just take a look at this here. Of course, it looks like Montaigne is gonna get banned because MishMash, they are notorious for playing Montaigne. I believe it was Tony. My memory might be wrong here. I have, you know, for this kind of trivia, sometimes I will remember the one detail forever, and sometimes I'll just forget it really quickly. Crevet here saying, I'm a Montaigne main too. That is true, by the way. Dead Astronauts also, they do really like to play Montaigne because that's the kind of operator where either you do love him or you never do play him. I mean, Thatcher. Every team has a Thatcher main. Whenever Thatcher isn't banned, you have to pick him, right? But Montaigne, the shields in the general sense of the term, not really. Tony's saying, but this is a Monty map, fam. Kind of going at it saying, hey guys, you may have just banned that specific operator for nothing. That remains to be seen, though. That remains to be seen. But ultimately, I do have to say, he's not wrong here. For example, if you were to compare a villa to, let's say, Clubhouse Garage, when you're on the catwalk, Montaigne cannot really be flanked, right? I mean, you would assume there's somebody watching the stairs themselves. So then Montaigne, when he's walking up the catwalk, he is in no virtual risk of being flanked or anything along those lines. Therefore, he only has right in front of him to worry about, and that is the point of the shield. But here, these kind of narrow and long corridors, yeah, you do have a few. You say 90 classical hallway, 90 hallway right here. But still, a Montaigne pushing up right there can still get flanked. I mean, for example, if you're pushing up from that side, eventually you'll just, you know, walk into the bomb site here. And if you're coming up from the other angle, well, then you have, you know, blue stairs to worry about. So, yeah, I do get what Tony meant there. Plus, my voice was really high-pitched there for some reason. Okay, let's take a look at this. Of course, our first defense is going to be at the top floor, so it is going to be a statues defense. What's more, it looks like we're going to be going for an extended hold. For example, I mean, the go-to or the default strat would be to simply just, you know, barricade everything. But here, we will be seeing a few rotation holes to make movements as easy and as seamless as possible. Let's see how exactly it's going to play out. We do have Telio right here. So he, of course, if he wants to breach the window, it's going to be trivially easy for him. Dirty right here does want to keep his back safe, and that is why he is going to be somewhat cautious about that. He knows, and you know, if the pressure was to be overwhelming, he could just rotate out, right? He does have those say rotation holes. Sounds redundant, but there you have it. However, my question would be, could the angle be watched directly from the window? If so, that could be quite dangerous for him. For example, Wade's right here again with the first kill on Kenny. So Castle, well, utility-wise, not a great loss. The gun isn't the best, but still losing a player is all around undesired. Nonetheless, first blood will be dealt or will be attributed to the Astronauts. And now you have Gibby receiving some amount of damage. Dirty here should, in theory, be, you know, your first line of defense. He is absolutely positioned to, you know, be the first one to actually hold off the pressure, but he will be playing it quite passively, not exactly peeking, not actively looking for a fight. Playing for time is, after all, a legitimate strategy when you're a defender. And Gibby right here is going to be above Dirty's shoulder. He doesn't have quite yet the angle on the window itself, so he couldn't get the kill on Telio. But should Telio try to rush in, he would likely be facing down Gibby's barrel. Dirty here, however, will be in a bit of a tough situation. If it wasn't watched from the outside, it is not going to be watched, the rotation hole, I mean, from Telio's angle. So the positioning right here is quite interesting, because of course MishMash, or Dirty himself, is kind of paralyzed here. But, oh no, rotating out the wrongs at the wrong moment. That is going to be absolutely fatal. And by having Telio flushed out, well, at this point, Dirty is no longer being paralyzed. He could rotate or roam if he so desired. Not that I see any compelling reason for him to start playing this way, but, you know, on paper, he's no longer paralyzed. Flash nade will be tossed in. It will not do much of anything, but hey, Skyzy is still attempting it. Wade's rushing in right here, and that will actually get the kill. Is it going to be a refrag? No, but Skyzy is likely to be rushing at the same time. He will be caught off guard from Astro, unfortunately, leaving us with a 2v2 situation. Neither team really getting the upper hand here. And, you know, as you can see, Crevette is on bomb site, so Stetcher will be basically freed of roamers, or of defenders, rather. But the Fuser is still stubbornly offside and is still not in the hands of the attackers. Crevette here getting a nice kill, leaving us with Gibby, last player alive. But if somebody can play for time, it will be Smoke. He's down to his last Toxic Bay, blocking down the left-hand side. No, the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. This is where pressure is coming from. He gets the kill. Or will do so in a few seconds. There you have it. And now he has... Oh, Wiz is no longer planting. And he gets the kill in the last second. Why did you peek this, Gibby? How unfortunate. But Wiz will be clutching this for his team. And Dead Astronauts will be taking round number 1. Okay. Let's go with the replays. And I also saw the chat. Let me also respond to that as soon as I'm done working the mouse. So... Awesome Possum, how'd they go? At this point, the question, comments, 3 minutes, 4 minutes ago. Awesome Possum, how'd they go? Plus a delay, I'm not sure what you're reacting to there. Most recent one was really good. 87 Villa, Gibby dropped 20, I dropped 9. Second map couldn't be finished, unfortunately, because my teammates had his power cut. That is true. That is true, Joker. It was unfortunate because... Vendetta Esports, they really did not need to start off the last round in a 4v5 situation. They were already losing by a few rounds in a match point situation that was really, really unwanted. But hey, power losses do happen. It's outside of our control. And yeah, as unfortunate as it is, it could have happened to anybody. In this instance, your teammate just ended up having the short end of the stick. MishMash saying, hey, hello, Tony. Is this an A league? Yeah, it is. So... in the sense that anybody, from the North American continent, Canadian, American, or Mexican, that instance, can register and can participate as soon as the registrations do open up for the next season. MishMash responded to that saying, yes, sir. Oh, wait, are you talking about MishMash? Or MMG doesn't have any EU involvement yet. Right, so Joker, were you asking about MishMash or this league right here? I might be out of context here. But hey, for what it's worth, we are on the EU. We are active in the EU scene, personally. So, hey ho, MishMash. We are not competing directly against you because you are such a bigger organization than we are. If we were to go, toe-to-toe, you would likely win the war of attrition. So we are getting out of your way and moving into EU. Okay, is this roster CA or American? So that's like a good question because as you can see in the flags right here, I have labeled MishMash as being American. That was one of the players who asked me this because MishMash as an org is Canadian. Dead Astronauts are Canadian, right? But MishMash as an org, they are Canadian, but the players are basically all American. So the players asked me to have them play under the American flag rather than the Canadian one. So there's that, for what it's worth. And there is Kenny in the red stairs. He's been spotted out. He'll be receiving a grenade, not receiving too much damage dealt to him by that explosive. But Skyzy with the flank will be quite dangerous. Here, it is going to be Waze receiving a lot of damage dealt to him. And at this point, had the natural cell been tossed out a bit earlier, could have done something really interesting. But at this point, Tony with the shield can actually quite likely get the kill on Waze. But 30 will be put down. He'll drop down here. That is weird. Why would you drop down? Because at this point, you have no chance of being revived whatsoever. I mean, for example, Tony, if he was to play it smart, maybe could have revived Dirty. Should Dirty have crawled to, you know, a quiet little corner. But dropping down the hatch, that to me makes no sense whatsoever. Ultimately, that will leave us with a 4 to 5 situation, 4 to 3 situation rather, and both Taylor getting a kill on Tony as well. So now it's 2v4, and Gibby is absolutely locking this corridor down. He gets a nice frag on Skyzy. There is still going to be a buzz above his shoulder trying to get the refrag, but he's basically going in blind, doesn't know exactly where his opponent is going to be. Apparently he did figure out Gibby's positioning, but the next assault could be so dangerous. Unfortunately for Gibby, it misses, leaving us with still, you know, a 2v3 situation. Unfortunately for the defense, you know, Gibby is really low on health, so he can be taken out of the picture pretty quickly. Abba's gonna do just that right now. Whereas on the other side, no such easy target, so easy prey will be present. However, as I say this, Abba's will be going down to, you know, roughly 10 to 15 hit points worth of health. So he could really easily be gunned down by the Evil Eye. Instead, Evil Eye will apparently be working against the defense. It is giving a lot of intel. There's no rotation. That wall hadn't been breached. X-Ray, were you under the impression that it had been breached? Because that would be some weird lack of situational awareness. I mean, your Thermite has been gunned down pretty early into the round. And you know, even if you were not aware that he was dead, an exothermic charge going off makes a lot of noise. The constant pinging here is going to be absolutely helpful, but no, somehow he does not get that kill. Crevette with a nice, you know, confident pre-fire. His sound cues must have been on point as he gets a good kill here. I was asking about the roster and the league. Good. Good. He was asking about DL. Okay, amazing, amazing. I am not that out of touch. So here, for context, there is a 3 minutes delay, so of course it makes things a bit harder for me whenever I want to respond to your comments. First of all, if you were responding to something and I want to react to that, I have to remind myself what we were talking about 3 minutes ago. For you guys, of course, you have to wait 3 minutes till you hear the response. It is quite hard to keep a conversation going in these situations. So the best thing that can happen is when I have a dedicated observer. Like, he can provide me a clean feed which has the 3 minutes delay baked into it, and at this point I can stream without any delay, and that allows me to basically keep the conversation going, and that is absolutely magnificent. I love that kind of situation. Unfortunately, it does require say a manpower or a level of manpower which we rarely manage to get together. I mean, to be honest, we are like 3 on paper, but only 2 real active admins, owners, managers. And yeah, we are keeping this afloat however we can with only 2 people. I think we're doing not too shabby, but only considering the circumstances, right? Ultimately, the lack of manpower does affect the ultimate productivity of the thing. Okay, Treg is back. It's one round, it happens. It just happened again, though. That might be unfortunate. Got 9 streams up on multi-Twitch right now. This is fun. 9 Treg, what are you doing? What's happening? Is there like a major Pro League game are you happening right now? And like ESA, CGL, you know, all those community orgs also running a stream right now. Is MishMash running a stream right now? I don't think so, because, you know, Tyler's in the chat right here, but this will happen. You guys are pretty prolific. Let's just put it at that. So yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, right? MishMash would be the known quantity, and the Atronauts said, oh, we have to work on ourselves, we can do better, and we're worth more than what we just showed, referring to the ending or the outcome of last game. And right here, actions do seem to speak for themselves. They are winning 2 rounds. The round number 1 was won with a really narrow margin. Round number 2, the Fierce was planted, 2v1 situation. Okay, yeah, still not major, but was still a you know, nice little lead. Nice little, say, margin for error they had. So at this point, I would ask MishMash, you can do better than this. I totally expect them to win, you know, a few rounds here and there eventually. And sometimes it's just the fact that you have to react or adapt to your opponent's playstyle. I mean, given enough time, MishMash would likely figure out how the Astronauts push, and at this point they could counteract that proficiently. For example, right here, 30 will be getting the first blood for MishMash Gaming, and that is a nice achievement. Oh, but that barricade being destroyed seems to be counter intel. Actually, a buzz rushing in, he'll be cut down pretty quickly. Kenny not being distracted for too long. He will realize there's nobody at that window. It has been destroyed from afar. Both Gibby and Dirty were peeking, you know, quickly, not being too aggressive, knowing there's, you know, some danger there. Cravette, for what it's worth, is still in his stationary room. He's kind of looking. Is there an evil eye camera or something along those lines? A black eye camera, rather, that is feeding intel. It doesn't seem to be the case. Like, there's one over the pillar right there, but it's not going to be seeing him, right? So he is kind of in a tough situation. He can't push in either way because they're, you know, the classical hallway has been cleared out, granted, but you can still not just walk right through the door. Telio is going to be probing this right here, but there's going to be Gibby hard right with the shotgun at that range. It is going to be absolutely fatal, and that is if Dirty doesn't get the kill first, but this will not happen. Though at this point, Gibby is going all out, and he gets a double kill, putting a swift end to this round, and finally winning a first point for MishMash Gaming. This is what I was talking about. They just needed to react and to, you know, figure out how the Astronauts are pushing, and once that, you know, learning phase has been done, well, the knowledge that you gained is going to be valid for the one round right here, but that doesn't mean that MishMash are just going to forget about anything they just learned for the next round, of course, right? This knowledge can be used round after round after round, and if you were to put it that way, at this point MishMash would be, you know, set to increase their performances. However, it's not like a magic bullet or a magic formula which will allow them to win a 7-2 situation at the end of the game. Because now, you might expect them to win a round or two, but eventually it's going to be up to the Astronauts to adapt, to evolve, or to change their playstyle. And they, just like MishMash, are absolutely capable of doing that. The question is always, how fast are you at reacting, at adapting, at changing your playstyle? One thing right here, MishMash will be going kitchen. That is somewhat surprising that we're not live. Yeah, that would have been extremely surprising. For example, tiny little, you know, anecdote or detail. Of course, you know, you tweeted that your team was live. You tweeted, "Hey guys, come on this channel." By the way, really appreciate it. And sending your viewers, sending your community on my channel would be extremely counterproductive if you were to be live yourself at the same time. So that's, you know, that simple factor individually had me next to, you know, assured that you were not going to be live right now. Is Tony going to attempt a spawn kill? No. Because of course, I know holding kitchen is done by holding the soft floor. The floor here being entirely destructible. If the Atronauts were to get a hold of top of the, you know, second floor, it would allow them to let death rain down on the defense on the OBJ.
A bomb has been located.
And it looks like the Astronauts are well equipped to execute such a push, right? You do have Waze and a Buzz who have great soft destruction capabilities. It looks like Tony will be right here, and he will be contesting even the first window. He is not going to be hiding behind the doorway, or, you know, waiting for them to peek in to jump through windows. No, he is pre-firing extremely aggressively, wanting to deny the Astronauts even a foothold on the building itself, and it will work. Telio hard breaching capabilities now being taken off the board. There is going to be, it's Abuzz's silhouette right here. He was there waiting, but potatoing, you know, only 2 shots. But if your opponent is not going to be, you know, aiming wide, only 2 bullets, you know, missing only 2 bullets is already 2 bullets too many. Okay, that was too hard for me to pronounce. And here it looks like Dirty is just on a rampage. That is going to be technically a wallbang headshot, and things are looking extremely dire now. Tony with the double kill. Crevette now in a 1v5 situation, clutch or kick. And if he clutches with an ace. That is nothing to be laughed at. But are his chances of clutching great or even reasonable? Unfortunately, not really. He does not have a diffuser. His position may not be down, and he may have all of his health, but he's critically low on intel. As you can see here, he's pre-firing where he's generally expecting an opponent to be, and that is fine and all. But if his position was no longer known, well, at this point, you know, MishMash will be aware where he is. Plus, the thing is, IQ's kit isn't exactly the best, right? It is a support operator, ultimately, right? And she's not really meant to be point man. But ultimately, when you're last player alive, you have no choice but to force yourself into the entry fragger role. And let's just say that IQ's kit is not meant for that. Be it simply the G8, as great a gun as it is quite heavy, it is quite, you know, slow and, you know, sluggish. When you're point man, you have to react quickly, you have to think on your feet and use your quick reflexes to not spot the player behind you! MishMash Gaming winning this with a flawless round. Ultimately, that is not too surprising. X-Ray, of course, wasn't making any noise or anything along those lines, but I was kind of criticizing IQ's kit, considering the role she was in, but there, the electronics detector could have spotted the phone, and that would have been a free kill. One at least, you know, just to deny the flawless victory to MishMash Gaming, just to save face. Unfortunately, Crevet is not even going to get a single one. But you cannot hold this against him individually, right? His teammates left him in a 1v5 situation, and that was an unwinnable, you know, situation. The mistake really was, for example, right here, Buck was holding a tight angle. He missed his shots. So did A-Buzz before him, and should, you know, for example, you're being caught off guard while reloading. Okay, it does happen, and you shouldn't have won this firefight. But I could point out to two separate attackers that should have won their gunfights. That should have prevented the 1v5 situation and, you know, the flawless round for MishMash Gaming. If I was to say, okay, winning those two firefights, yeah, that may not have won the round entirely, but it would still have been a contributing factor, because here, as unfortunate as it is, the Atronauts, they accomplished next to nothing. I mean, a few pieces of utility have been destroyed, like, you know, one of Tony's ADS devices got a bullet shot at it. Okay, really minor. Soft destructibility, you know, ways wanting to get in. Yeah, sure, that happens, but ultimately, the Astronauts really didn't accomplish anything last round. You guys got this. As soon as you guys get warmed up and rolling. Yeah, that seems to be exactly what was happening, Joker, actually. Like, they just needed a bit of time, and now that they got it, MishMash seemed to be on a tear. Plus, it's all about spreading the love, man. I hear you. I 100% hear you. Oh my god, that shot. Like I said, 3 minutes delay. I do not know exactly what you were reacting to, but Tony will be right here in the dead angle ways. It's like, of course, looking up. Crevet, well, he seems to be joining. Oh, no, he's right there. He saw the leg, and it looks like Tony will be having no luck. But no, it still works, surprisingly enough. Isn't just weird? Is the door barricaded behind him? Oh, yes, it is barricaded behind him. He has no way out but to gun his way through his opponents, and he will do just that. Unfortunately for Tony, though, no Doc will be present in MishMash's composition, so the lost health will be irrecuperable. But ultimately, it is nothing too major, right? Trading, say, roughly 95% of your health for 2 kills, even though you will be left sorely vulnerable for your upcoming firefights, it's still a trade that is absolutely worthwhile. Dirty will be trying a nitro sound. That might actually work. It will work. How exactly are they knowing where their opponents are? It looks, or if I was to guess, I would say Black Eye cameras. I'm always mixing up Evil Eye and Black Eye. But hey, maybe an Evil Eye was having a line of sight on Crevet. Skyzy here. Don't exactly remember who. Oh, it was Skyzy. Okay. Ultimately, it is you know, the counter utility game that seems to be kind of weak here for the Astronauts, because shooting on the camera is trivially easy, especially when you're talking about IQ, right? She can find the camera with a blink of an eye, and then, you know, Valk counts at the very least are not armored in any way, shape, or form, so they'd be really easy to take down. And right here, he'll be pushed from the left-hand side, but he did not expect this. Another flawless round for MishMash Gaming. What is happening? Basically, what seems to be happening is MishMash just woke up. And that is all they needed to win it out, apparently. Let's just go with that. MishMash, and here we go, MishMash saying, star, star, star. What are those stars supposed to be standing for, by the way? I am unsure. But with that being said, he's not. He is. Oh yeah. referring to the first flawless round, but like, here's a secret. There's another one coming! Okay, so by the point you hear this, you have already seen the round, and it was absolutely nuts. Gibby better drop 20 again. Well, here, wait, let's do a bit of math, okay? He's at 7 kills so far, and we're one round off of the half point. So, yeah, half point roll swap. Of halftime is what I was looking for. How are his odds of dropping 20 kills? Unfortunately, I don't think they're that good. First of all, I mean, if I was to round this up quite aggressively, let's say we are at the middle of the game, let's just double his kills to see where he's gonna stand at by the time the game ends. So that would put him at 14 kills. But that is taking things, you know, taking a few details not into consideration. Is the game really gonna end after 12 rounds? Well, of course it cannot, because at that point both teams would have 6 points and overtime would be a go. But MishMash have woken up in a brutally efficient fashion, and at this point they don't show any signs of slowing down. I mean, both 2 of the 3 rounds they won wasn't a flawless fashion, so they're not dropping anything, and their odds of winning it pretty quickly and not going into, you know, or not having as many rounds to play as have already been played are really good. Or, you know, given the current situation. Roll swap can still mix things up, but that's just the way I see things right now. Dirty will be your roamer, and he seems to be alone, I want to say. There's no silhouette right here, right? So, wait, I only see three defenders here. Oh, Tony is also roaming. Okay, but he's roaming at the first floor, just like Dirty is. So that would give that part of that half of the map, you know, statues, trophies, full control for the Astronauts. They have been unchallenged mostly, and they now have a good foothold on the map itself. What will they be doing from there? It seems to be, you know, fairly obvious, right? Of course, they'll be going through 90 hallway, and they'll be trying to push from there into the bomb site. But my next question will be, what are the roamers going to do? Because, for example, if Dirty or Tony, Jaeger or Bandit were to come up through, say, how is this part of the map called? I am blanking out. Astronomy. If they were to come in through Astro, they could, you know, outflank the attack and cause a great deal of damage. But it doesn't seem to be their intent here. They are really just holding on to the base, to the first floor, to deny, say, Buck the possibility of reaching the ceiling. But as you can see, that Astronauts, they are not fielding a Buck this round. And therefore, this lack of knowledge or, you know, defensive setup here might basically be pointless. Not that MishMash. No. Skyzy, what was that? Or a Buzz, rather. What was that? Why, how, and explain to me, please. I don't see any jam or anything along those lines, so of course, right, Thermite can reach this with minimal difficulties. Another Rena will be cooked and prepared. Who will eat it to the face? Nobody. But they now know that there's somebody directly hard left holding that at an angle. That knowledge is still good to be had. And there's somebody right here, but that somebody is now going prone. A Buzz in here, inflicting a lot of damage to X-Ray. Tony getting a kill at the same time, leaving us with only 2 attackers remaining alive. Is this going to be yet another flawless round? No, because A Buzz does get a kill, but still, Kenny and Gibby getting a frag at the exact same time. It seems to me like we didn't pick up on too many frags here. My spectating skills have left to be desired as far as this round is concerned, but still, the round as a whole was just magnificent. Yeah, ultimately that is not. Wait, have we just seen the last kill right here, and then the final kill cam? That's all we gotta see. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Okay. Nonetheless, it is gonna be a 4-2 scoreline for the roll swap. So yeah, the Astronauts, they won 2 rounds at the beginning. So at this point, I would say it seems like their intuitive or innate playstyle would be a natural counter to MishMash's way of doing things. But as soon as MishMash woke up, as soon as they, you know, had a reasonable amount of time to adapt and to overcome those initial difficulties, they were able to provide a convincing response to the problem that was at hand. And now it will be that Astronauts defending. Their first defense will be statues. just like MishMash before them when they themselves were, beginning their defenses. And at this point, my question will be, are both MishMash and the Astronauts as proficient as attacking and defending as they were on their previous wall? I.e., is, say, the rate at which both teams are winning rounds going to change because of the role swap, or are things generally going to remain as they were? Because that simple question, depending on its answer, is basically going to say which team is going to win out the game, right? One thing is for sure, both teams are not playing the other role like their opponent before them. For example, Dirty here will be fielding a Yana, which is something that the Astronauts never did. On the DS side, I mean, we have seen a Castle, we have seen an Ella. The 3 other remaining operators will be fairly standard. But those two, even though we have seen them before, being fielded by MishMash, they were still the odd ones, right? They didn't appear every single time, and they weren't necessarily the most important operators utility-wise and all that good stuff. So really, the big innovation will absolutely be Iana. It looks like you will have a Buzz here holding off on Classical Hall, so of course it is going to be an extended hold. He has reinforced the wall right here, therefore Buck cannot just breach it, and that drone is going to be extremely stubborn. The bad news is basically it will allow the attackers to sneak up on him. Of course, eventually that drone got destroyed, and then Kenny has received a taste of his own medicine, to be honest. But ultimately, Dirty will be getting that frag, and therefore that part of the map has been cleared and secured for MishMash. They can now move forward up to the bomb site itself, where Waze will be waiting for them. Skyzy is underneath, and he gets a kill on Kenny, so of course, right, Ash was really low on health. That frag was easy to get, and now he could stick a Nitro Cell to the ceiling if he so desires, but he's no Valkyrie, and he is likely to be somewhat lower on intel. Still, he does have the kit to attempt it, and wait, no, Skyzy. That was I saw that. I just wanted to tell him that I saw that. That was an unfortunate toss of the Nitro Cell. I mean, to be honest, I don't know exactly where the intel came from. If it was just general game sense, audio cues, Valkyrie cameras, no matter the how and why. That toss was just abysmal. I'm sorry, but the good news is he isn't dead. He didn't receive any damage dealt to him. He didn't get bogged down in a firefight, and he was able to rotate back on site, albeit, one crucial piece of utility lighter than he was previously. Ultimately, it is still going to be fairly minor. The numerical disadvantage at which the defense is still going to be annoying to say the least, and Crevette is not shy about deploying a deployable shield right in front of his opponents while possibly receiving bullets. It just so happened that he was not actively getting fired upon, but he was still fairly, say, vulnerable. Now, the Diffuser is being planted, and Crevette has really limited map control with 22 bullets remaining in the mag. He seems to know that Tony will be there waiting for him, but Tony will, of course, not be alone. He still is the one that ends up getting the kill. No, it was X-Ray, actually. Oh my gosh. So X-Ray kind of stealing the kill under IQ's nose here. IQ, who was played by I am so amnesic, who was being played by Tony. That was something. Something indeed. Okay. So this is not going to be a 5-2 situation, and I tend to talk about the point of no return quite often when I cast. I don't think this is like an actual phenomenon in Pro League, or it's not standard as far as casting goes to mention that, but I really do like to talk about it. At some point, the gap between the two teams will be so great that you don't realistically expect the comeback to be to stand a real shot at actually happening, right? And the question at this point becomes, at which point is the gap going to be so great between the two teams that the Astronauts no longer stand a reasonable chance at getting the comeback and at getting the win? And the unfortunate thing is, Blue team were able to win the two first rounds, but then things went south pretty quickly. And as things currently stand, I don't see them winning a single round anytime soon. So even being down by quote-unquote only 3 rounds, I want to say would already be enough, or would already be too great for them to have a reasonable shot at winning the match. It is unfortunate because, you know, usually you talk about point of no return when it's like a 63, 62 situation. So, not too enjoyable for the Astronauts, I want to say. But still, given the current state of things, don't see them winning out anything major. And that angle is actually pretty nice. You can watch all the way up to the landing there and basically cut off any rotations coming off of the aviation's room. For example, here, Waze, if he was to run out, maybe start roaming or help us or get the refrag on Abbas, who would hypothetically have fed intel to his team regarding whoever killed him. But then Gibby would be there to cut off that, you know, run out. Ultimately, the angle he was watching is fairly narrow, and if the opponents don't peek him, he is not going to be running up to them from that roof, so he has to jump down, and he's going to have to try something else. Nonetheless, the angle, like I said, I really do like. So, that is going to be dirty, kind of probing the defenses here on B on Games Room, and that's where the Gemini Replicator would actually be really interesting, right? If you don't want to rush in yourself blindly, well, then just use your guy, and there you will have exactly the first line of defense. That will be there'll be Waze on the hunting vault, and we had seen it during the preparation phase, but didn't actually acknowledge it. It is going to be an extended hold here. Oh, and Skies will be gunned down by Gibby exactly as he rushes back in. So, both Dirty and X-Ray seem to be well poised to just funnel in through Games Room. Waze seems to know that, and he will be using the Nitro Cell, which gets destroyed mid-air. He doesn't get to detonate it, unfortunately. Still, the pressure will be mounting, and Telio knows that he has to, you know, go back and forth. The thing is, there still is a great deal of danger coming from 90's hallway. Waze is going to realize that, and that's going to cost him a great deal of health. So what can he do? Not too much. Another Gemini Replicator has been tossed in. That was just the distractant that was needed. Cravette is capable of getting a kill, so no flawless round 1. But still, he was in a 1v4 situation. And once again, Dirty getting the kill, winning the round number 8. And this is going to put MishMash Gaming in a match point situation. If it wasn't the case previously, at this point, I feel fairly confident to say that we have reached the point of no return. At this point, winning the last game, or the last point, the last round, is just a formality for MishMash. The game's in the bag. Of course, if you start thinking like that, you are going to take things for granted, and you may be prone to make some mistakes, which you otherwise wouldn't be actually commenting. But assuming they still do play reasonably, assuming your recent successes don't get to their heads, their chances of winning are near perfect, right? So that's the way I see things, at least right now. Interestingly enough, by the way, so you had Dead Astronauts. They went statues, failed. They went aviation,
Attackers need to locate and defuse
and
as many
also
bombs
failed.
as they can.
So they can go basically anywhere, and they will be trying another statue's defense. As a last Hail Mary, the only thing you can hope or wish for them is that they were able to learn from your previous mistakes, 2 rounds ago when they defended that bomb site, and set up something different, which would be likely to, or which would have more chance at actually counteracting what MishMash were doing previously. So let's see exactly how things are going to play out. But for the time being, so Abuz is going to be putting some ADS devices here and there. And the ADS device here on the red stairs plus the barbed wire would lead me to believe that somebody is likely to actually, hunker down and try to hold that that area of the map. It's always somewhat dangerous, right? I believe it was Cravette with Ella who was playing in red stairs before. You can really do here that I'm not sure about who exactly the player was. It seems to be Skyzy this time around. But one thing is for sure, that is an extremely perilous or dangerous situation to be in, because he can be put from the first area. The attackers don't need to actually rush up and walk through the barbed wire. You could have somebody right here, right his head, and his field of vision actually does see the tip of that corridor, and therefore an attacker on the first floor could also see him. and that's why you're always going to be in an extremely precarious situation when attempting to hold blue stairs. Right here, Gibby will be biting the dust. He is not dead though, so he can still be revived. Kenny will not be, you know, playing ball. He is not pushing in, trying to refrag a buzz or anything along those lines. He is quite content into probing the OBJ itself. Unfortunately for him, he is also going to be facing basically a wall of bullets, and he cannot make any headway that from that side either. A buzz, however, from behind is not going to survive to that nifty flank from Kenny. This is why, you know, some of these walls usually get reinforced. So right here, Abaz did get some results, but he wasn't able to actually finish off Gibby. I mean, had he been playing with, say, Legion, he would have had the impact grenades, and that would have been an easy kill for him. But unfortunately, he was ill-equipped to gun down anybody he was not actually seeing. SkyZ has also rotated back, so apparently Red Stairs hold is going to be forfeited, and with it, a lot of utility is actually lost, because, you know, that ADS device, the jammer, barbed wire are no longer holding anything. And Katie, once again, being point man, wanting to just rush in, and he is going to be watching, staring down Crevette's barrel, but unfortunately for the defense, it looks like Crevette was unable to get those kills, but his deployable shield will be destroyed, leaving him in a somewhat more precarious situation, right? He can no longer just statically hold the angle. He's going to have to be a bit more passive or a bit more cautious about that. And this should give some headroom to MishMash Gaming, right? Gibby is kind of probing, holding a narrow angle. You also do hear, for example, X-Ray roaming out, and he is absolutely going to be rotating, basically, or most likely linking up with Tony, who is going to be attempting to see something, and that something is going to be Waze, who is just not peeking. He doesn't want to reveal himself. The drone's likely going to pick up in his position, but the ideal situation would be to trade his advantage of suppress with an actual kill. Try as he might, though, that situation is just not happening. SkyZ, though, getting a nice kill here. So he was further back, but he still gets something done. Telio, a frag of it with a frag of his own, with 15 seconds remaining on the clock. It looks like that Astronauts are, you know, have a reasonable shot at winning the round. But right here, Tony will be biting the dust. Therefore, X-Ray with 4 seconds to go has to get the double kill, and that, unfortunately for him, does not happen. Dead Astronauts keeping this alive for yet another round. Congratulations for winning that one round. But the greater picture is still really dire for the blue team, right? They have to win another, what, 3 rounds back to back for a total of 4 if they want to get this into overtime. And winning the round was the beginning, but will they be actually capable of bringing this all the way into OT? And from that point on, will they be actually capable of winning, you know, both rounds they need to have the favorable ending to the game actually happen? I am still quite doubtful of that hypothetical outcome. Or I'm still doubtful of that hypothetical outcome actually becoming a reality, rather.
10 seconds to go.
Nonetheless, I mean, winning your first round is, of course, the beginning at mounting the comeback. So let's hope for their sakes that they are capable of keeping the comeback going for a few more rounds. But once again, I don't see an actual win happening. Okay, match point still, and the good bad news is they won on statues. And whatever they did here, they can't really do again, right? Because now they have to go somewhere else. And if they were to lose there, i.e. in that instance, they're going to go aviation. If they were to lose aviation, they would be done for. So the winning formula they just figured out or just came up with, they will not really stand a reasonable chance deploying it again, except if we were to be, you know, in a 6-5 situation, and then we'd basically see that defense again to get into overtime. So in the meantime, it is, of course, going to be another aviation defense. Let's see what exactly is going to happen here. So, unlike last time around, Crevette will be playing with cage, so those walls will be actually protected by some electricity, which we have seen, I believe, a bandit here and there, but actually no hard breaching doesn't seem to be the focal points of neither attacks nor defenses. So, all in all, I don't want to say it's an afterthought, but ultimately, it's not the main factor that's going to decide who wins it and who loses the round. Still, you have MishMash spawning in, and just real quick, okay, just to cover our bases, Telia will be roaming. You do not have the extended hold in the sense of having roamers, you know, attempting to hold, say, bedroom and that kind of stuff. and you know the retention holes that you may have had here and here before are no longer going to be present. And you know that absolutely checks out, because when they were playing the extended hold, of course, the Astronauts were losing the rounds, and that is something they can no longer afford. So yeah, it's going to be the standard, typical defensive setup that's going to be happening again, with the added caveat that Tilio will be roaming on the first floor. Of course, being Valkyrie, his evil eye, black eye cameras will be set up in such a way that he is likely to pick up on his opponent's whereabouts, and then he could likely toss in a natural cell at the ceiling. That is if he can move, because he is holding an angle, being really passive, and he doesn't want to make any noise. But Tony, though he wasn't actually looking for him, he was looking at the basement area, still he is going to know there's somebody in the general vicinity, and both players are trading shots, neither really getting the upper hand, but still that is going to cause a firefight, which is basically going to paralyze and occupy a player on both teams. It looks like you have also a Buzz who is coming back, trying to mount the pressure or to actually succeed Tilio, who had to rush out. But you know, said fabled kill is just not gonna happen. Therefore, the pressure will be mounting on OBJ, and it feels ironic that I mentioned how you know, protecting your reinforced walls was maybe an afterthought. Here you have like only the 1K'd Electroclaw, and it was woefully inadequate because, of course, you know, Buck was a floor below and he was able to destroy that. So now X-Ray just has to, you know, pull the trigger on the X-Carus a second time to cause them to detonate. And that would be a great way to funnel in through OBJ and hypothetically get the diffuser planted. Skazy right here has to, you know, pay attention because he's still standing on an opening in the floor. And Tilly right here seems to be quite content holding the ankle, trying to contest Gibby. But Gibby is not going to be biting. He is, you know, just holding the angle and forcing Tilio to get back at him. That natural cell would be tossed. Poorly tossed, however. X-Ray seems to know that. He is looking at it, and he is rushing back. But Tilio, too little, too late. Had it been a bit, you know, a few seconds later, he would have gotten a, like 3 kills right there. And he'll get shot at by Tilio. A Buzz, no, in a 1v4 situation. This guy, somebody on his right side. He gets the flick down. Has to deny plant, though. That is unlikely to happen. And now, 1v3 situation. Diffuser has been put down. Things are looking extremely dire for that Astronauts. And you can really do see that he's low on intel. He seems to be expecting somebody to be coming in from 90s hallway, and though there's Gibby there, Gibby isn't going to be actually pushing him, right? And that is going to be X-Ray getting the final kill, and thus putting an end to the game. So, MishMash winning 7-3. Like I said, the chances of a comeback were really low, as unfortunate as it is. Except for the 2 first rounds, the Astronauts were consistently on the back foot for the entirety of the game. So their initial, say, upper hand, they weren't able to keep. And at this point, I would say what you were doing at the beginning was working, right? But it seems like the Astronauts became kind of stagnant, and I don't want to say complacent, but they didn't adapt as MishMash were themselves adapting to counteract them.
GG.
And that factor seems to be ultimately a great, seems to have had a great impact in deciding which team actually ends up taking the win. So let's jump into the replays for the very last round, and then we will be good to go with the interview. The last thing I will want to do, however, is to get enter in the scores on Battlefied, because I sometimes forget to do that. And then when I realized that I had forgotten to enter in the scores, it's like 2 weeks later, and I no longer remember how the match has been played out. So, MishMash Gaming won the one map, 1-0 maps wise. Scores wise, it was 7-3. Okay. So, let's poke them on Discord. Kenny, you want to do an interview? I'll be in a public channel EL on the server. Wait, I was pronouncing server weird, just, you know, for dramatic effect, but then I actually typed it with an O, which, you know, there's no O in server. Okay, yeah, so let me just log into the voice channel right here and wait for Kenny to join in if he so desires. Reckless Lord QC saying, have a nice stream. Hey, Reckless, how are you doing? Thank you very much. And you have a nice evening and nice beginning of the night at this point. And let us welcome. How are you doing? And I hope you enjoy your stay. Kenny, how are you doing?
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. So you must have, a good reason for being so happy because, of course, you just won with. It wasn't, a 7-1 or 7-0, but it was still a fairly decisive margin. You were never really at danger of losing the game, I want to say.
Yeah, it was a tough start. They got up on
True,
us
yeah.
2-0 while we're defending, so that's not how we planned to start the game. We didn't get to warm up before the game, so we were kind
Ah,
of a little slow. Maybe we weren't hitting our shots. So they had two good rounds, um,
the
but
first one
definitely,
was actually amazing, actually. I'm, I'm repeating myself. The first round was bonkers. I mean, I don't remember who it was, but that smoke shouldn't have peaked the way he did. There was 1 second remaining, and he just waited it out, forcing Buck to plant. That was
yeah,
an
yeah,
easy mistake I
definitely.
wanted to point out.
Yeah, it's tough because with the comms that were being said, we weren't sure if he was sticking the plant or if he was swinging.
Yeah,
So he just, I guess, it was a poor decision, bad timing kind of thing.
nah, it happens, and ultimately you still won the game, and the rounds that the Astronauts won were somewhat narrow, right? Talking about the one we won here, firefight can always go both ways, and the second round I don't exactly remember because nothing that crazy happened. I think they won in a 2v1 firefight, so, two players remaining at the end of the round. It's a small margin. It's not a nice margin, but it's not a decisive blowout round. So you had to only adapt somewhat to start winning your rounds, and you didn't just stop there because you won flawless round after flawless round multiple times in a row. So yeah, absolutely. What exactly did you have to adapt, or what kind of switch in your playstyle did you end up making to start winning your games? What exactly was the detail that in their playstyle that was too consistent or too easy to counteract when looking at Dead Astronauts' way of doing things?
The biggest thing for us, we felt that we were taking fights one on one. Um, we might be able to get a pick, but when we were getting killed, nobody was there to help refrag.
Yeah,
Like the first two rounds, I got killed. Like I was the first death, and there was no refrag because I wasn't playing with the teammates. So the rest of the game, we kind of decided like we gotta take things as a team, hold things as a team. So if they get one of us, we get two of them,
yeah.
and that kind of helped with winning those gunfights.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, in the general sense of in the general sense, I mean, setting up a refrag situation is, I want to say that's a fairly easy thing to do when you're used to it, and that makes a difference between, I want to say, average and good teams, because no matter your gun skills, intel, or anything along those lines, if you're able to negate any kill your opponent gets on you by just refragging it and thus not allow them to get the upper hand, that's always going to allow you to, at the very least, or in worst case scenario, be tied to your opponents. And that's something that you really have to work on when you don't know that. And I'm going to rant here, but if you are, say, a gold or low plat team, that is like the one greatest, say, piece of advice I could give you. Game sense, accuracy, reaction time, flick shots. That's going to come with time and practice. But setting up, positioning yourself to always stay near to somebody else. That's huge in terms of what an impact it can get. So yeah, I kind of veered off track here, but hey, you got me going. You got me going.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
You, other than that, I mean, the game, I don't want to say was unremarkable, but you won rounds in a really good manner. I mean, you won 2 flawless rounds back to back, round 3 and 4, or 4 and 5, along those lines, right near the middle and the end of the first half time. And then on attack, you didn't relent either, right? Because there's always the question of halftime could, or the role swap could mix things up. Maybe you're better at defending than you're at attacking, or they have a trick up their sleeves, which they couldn't showcase when they were on the offensive side. Were you worried, or did you, generally speaking, play differently, aside of the fact that you had the different role? Did you adapt your play style to match theirs once they were defending, or did you just keep on doing what you were doing?
We kind of just were doing what we do best. We kind of wanted to take the fight to them.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. We played them so long ago; it's tough to remember how they
Yeah,
play.
that is
Um,
true.
and then watching their VODs and everything, we've been so busy with quals and stuff like that. But we kind of just came out saying, hey, we got to play how we play, take the gunfights, play together. We do feel pretty confident attacking on Villa.
Okay.
Uh, I think the meta has when you play two good teams on Villa, it tends to be more attacker sided just because of the easy way to choke the rotates back to site from
True. Yeah.
Wolf window, 90 window, things like that. And once you learn to take advantage of those, it's really tough to defend that map. So we weren't too worried going down 0-2, but we were pretty excited to go on attack. We felt like we could run away with it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for this. Like I said, the match didn't have too many, I want to say, specific details I wanted to point out or nitpick and talk about at length, since it was a fairly, good match, and you won in a good, with a really good advantage. So we could only talk about the general play style rather than talking about the one clutch or the one crazy action. So congratulations for your victory. With that being said, does that keep you on the first? Yeah. So you're first as far as the second round robin is concerned. Goddamn hiccups. And therefore your spot in the playoffs is virtually guaranteed. So there is still next week to be had, but I mean, I don't expect you to drop the ball too hard. And
I sure hope not.
yeah, for your sake, let's hope not. But for the other team's sake, let's hope. I mean, I gotta stay neutral, right? And you will actually be having 2 games. I do want to point this out because we have lost 2 teams, and you only need to have like the one team absent to have the match not be played. So at this point, literally half of the games are no longer happening. So you are lucky in the sense that you have 2 games next week against Vendetta and Arsenal Esports. Vendetta, of course, are another contender for the playoffs. So that match seems to be fairly promising. And Arsenal Esports, though unfortunately for them, they are dead last in the rankings. They put up an extremely tough fight for Vendetta's last game.
Oh yeah, they almost had him. I was watching that one.
You were watching there. That was crazy. So they, even though the rankings wouldn't suggest they're that dangerous, what we saw last surprised me. That is for sure. So you have two good games lined up next week. So I really do hope to be able to cast them. I say this because there's going to be another game this week. Unfortunately, it's going to be played while I myself will be covering the Cerberus tournaments, and therefore that match between Arsenal Esports and OnlyFans will be done off stream. So I hope for everybody's sake that I'll be able to cast your games next week, because those 2 matches seem to be fairly promising. But until then, I think I've taken enough of your time. So once again, congratulations for your victories. Let's hope I get to cast you again next week. And assuming you make it to the playoff, which is virtually guaranteed, we'll see you then. And that is when things are going to become really interesting.
Sounds good. Thank you. We're very excited for the playoffs and even excited for the both games next week. So we'll definitely see you around.
Amazing. Well, till then, have an amazing rest of the night, and
Thanks,
see you next week.
Thanks.
And yeah, as always, I never tend to drag those out once the interview is finished. So this is going to be it for the stream tonight. Like I said, there's not going to be another game this week because of poor timing or, unfortunate circumstances. It is nobody's fault in particular. It's just, random circumstances or, the stars aligning, to put it that way. The one thing I do want to point out is if you want to either watch or play, and the next thing I'm going to organize, it is of course going to be the Cerberus tournament. So if you want to play, type in the chat DAL, DAL. Let me just start up the bots so it runs by the time you hear this, because that's a mistake I do once or twice, not starting up the bot, and then people are typing commands and no response is coming. Nonetheless, so we do run weekly tournaments, kind of reminiscent of ESL's Go 4, which RIP and whatever Faces are doing, they're not providing any successor to that format. So I know we're nowhere near being the spiritual successor to the Go 4, but we're still hosting a format which is fairly similar to what they had. So if you want to play, it's going to be this Sunday at 6 p.m. So basically the same time slot that ESL we're having. And the fun thing is we're not playing single or even double elimination. We're playing Swiss rounds. So that means you lose, you keep on playing, unlike, the single elimination with which the original Go 4 had. The idea is the more novice teams will not be kicked out after a single game as a result of their first loss. And every team is going to play as much as the other. And that's something we really do enjoy to enable every team to have a good time and to not like prepare strats, hype things up for one blowout match. So like I said, to register, just type in chat !DAL, and the bot will respond with a link to the to our Battlefy organizers page, and from there on you can find everything there is to know about us. And of course, if you want to watch, well, just come back on this channel Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in 2 days from now. But until then, like I said to I am amnesic to Kenny, like I said to Kenny, have an amazing rest of the night. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed your stay. I hope to see you again. But until then, see you all this Sunday.
the bomb diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser. Drop the bomb diffuser. Defenders have eyes on the diffuser. Attackers. Les assaillants ont lâché le désamorceur. Attackers have recovered their diffuser. Attackers bomb diffuser has been. Remaining. Heading out to defuse the bomb.